The weather outside was damp and chilly, with a light rain falling and a strong wind blowing. In the yard of a run-down house, a young girl was washing laundry in a bowl. The water had long since cooled, and her hands were growing tired. After finishing her work, she began to hang the clothes on lines. Her neighbour, Mrs. Nance, hailed her. "Hello, Shannon. May God help you. I see you've been cleaning since morning. And you've done the laundry too. Well done. You've even tidied up the yard. I brought you some milk and a pie with raspberries for you. Sit down, rest and eat. You must be tired. You can't overdo it in your condition." The young woman was happy to see her visitor and responded, "Hello, Mrs. Nance. Thank you so much for the treat. Come in. Why stay in the cold?" The older woman came into the house, looked around and praised the homeowner. "You can really live here. I see you've even washed the curtains. Late Tom could never have dreamed of such cleanliness. He was a solitary man and didn't take care of things, so the house was neglected. It's good that you moved in. Otherwise, some drunks might have taken over, and they're nothing but trouble." Shannon was pleasant. With the warm words of the neighbour, she began to fuss, to put the kettle on the stove and look for a brew. During the conversation, she ate the neighbour's pie and treated her to apples from the abandoned orchard. Mrs. Nance looked at the woman and shook her head. "You're a good girl, not lazy, hard-working. Tell me, how did you end up on the street and get pregnant by someone you don't know? You're still a child yourself. Don't you have any family to help you? It's difficult to be alone with a boy." After finishing her meal, Shannon frowned and shook her head. "I'm an orphan, Mrs. Nance. I was raised in an orphanage. My mother abandoned me at the maternity hospital. I've never known what a normal family feels like. In the orphanage, my friend was Bruce, known as Daredevil. He was feared by all the guys there. He didn't tolerate any offence and didn't listen to anyone. But I cared for him in a special way. At first as a brother, a friend, and then, eventually we fell in love. Bruce convinced me to run away from the orphanage. He so beautifully described freedom and a free life beyond the iron fence, where we could love each other and travel the world without any rebukes or punishments. I was sick of the orphanage, so I agreed to go with him wherever he went. I was 16 then, and he was 17. It felt like our whole life was ahead of us. Despite Bruce's promises, things didn't go as planned. We fled, hopping on a train and travelling 1,000 kilometres without tickets. Evading the controllers and track workers seemed exciting. That's how we ended up here. But what now? We had no place to live, no money. Bruce's friend, also a former orphanage worker, took us in. I was still a child, without a job or papers. Consequently, Bruce started stealing from the market and passers-by, taking wallets and cell phones. He kept this from me for a long time, claiming he was moonlighting at the market, unloading trucks with goods. I was naive and believed him. Eventually, we rented a room and I found a job at a fruit stand. Life seemed to be improving, and I thought we would always be together. My pregnancy came as a shock to both Bruce and me. We weren't ready to be parents, especially as I was only 18. I finally got my passport, though not without difficulty. Our arguments increased as I insisted we get married for the sake of the child, while Bruce pushed for an abortion. Then the police came to our home, and my fiancé Bruce was taken away right before my eyes. They searched my room, and I discovered the truth. Even the earnings he had given me were stolen. Bruce went to jail for 5 years, and my landlord evicted me, leaving me homeless and wandering. Thank you for allowing me to stay here. It's far better than living on the street. I don't know what my next steps are. Mrs. Nance, I've regretted running away from the orphanage 100 times over. I've ruined my life. I could have had a place to live and a profession as an orphan. I've been foolish. The neighbour shook her head in pity. You've had a tough time, haven't you? Stay strong and come to me if you need anything. I need to go now. My husband is probably looking for me. After the neighbour left, Shannon felt overwhelmed by unpleasant memories and fears about her uncertain future. She got dressed and decided to go to the store, where food was being sold discounted. On her way, she stopped at a bridge, resting her elbows on the railing and gazing down at the water below. She occasionally felt intense despair and entertained dark thoughts. However, she never dared to act on them and would instead fall into a stupor, watching the water flow by. Suddenly, an expensive car screeched to a halt nearby. An elegantly dressed woman stepped out and purposefully approached Shannon, who was visibly scared and worried about the woman's intentions. However, the stranger greeted her with a warm smile and said, "I'm sorry if I startled you. I was passing by and thought you were in distress. I couldn't help but stop." Shannon stuttered, "I was just lost in thought. I'm okay, really. Thank you." The stranger then noticed Shannon's slightly protruding belly under her old sweater and proposed, "Listen, would you like to earn a substantial amount of money for essentially doing nothing? Well, almost nothing. My name is Tracy, by the way. What's your name?" "I'm Shannon. I don't quite follow what you're saying. It's not typical for someone to offer money for nothing. I'm suspicious, although I admit I could use every cent right now. You see, I'm in a situation." Tracy patiently explained, "That's right, you are pregnant. That's exactly what I need. You see, I have a fiancé, a wealthy and successful businessman. We're getting married, but I lied to him about being pregnant. I even wore a belly pad. I kept pushing off a doctor visit, but my fiancé lost patience and now he wants ultrasound results. If I don't provide them, he'll discover my lie and cancel the wedding. We look similar in terms of hair colour, height and figure. I want you to go to the ultrasound clinic for me. My fiancé chose the clinic. You're not at risk. I'll provide my documents and insurance. You'll undergo the ultrasound, take the results and give them to me. I'll pay you generously. Will you agree?" Shannon was taken aback and stuttered, "Why are you doing this? Eventually, your fiancé will find out you're not pregnant. What then?" Tracy dismissed her concerns. "What do you care? I'll say I lost the baby. The main thing is to get married first, and then I'll figure it out. So, what's it going to be? Do you need money, or should I look for someone else at the woman's clinic?" Shannon hesitated. She knew she was getting involved in something wrong, but she was desperate and needed money for her baby. Where else could she find such a job? Finally, she nodded. "Okay, I'll do it. Where and when tomorrow? And I need an advance in case you try to trick me." Tracy chuckled. "You're not so naive. Here's your advance. You'll get the rest when you give me the result. Now, let's go get you cleaned up. They won't let you into an elite clinic dressed like that. You'll ruin my plan." Tracy put Shannon in the car and drove her to the beauty salon. For a few hours, Shannon underwent a transformation, including various masks, facial massages, and other pleasant procedures. She received a tidy manicure and a haircut like Tracy's, and when she came out of the fitting room of the store in a beautiful long dress and boots, even Tracy was delighted. Now, nothing reminded of the past life of the candidate for the scam. Shannon felt as if she had stepped into another dimension. She barely recognized herself in her new look. The wealthy woman was pleased and said, "Excellent. Now everything is in order. Here is the address. Wait for me at the clinic gate tomorrow at 9 o'clock and I'll provide you my documents. I hope everything turns out well for me. A wedding and a happy, prosperous life are on the line." Back at her run-down house, Shannon felt as melancholic as Cinderella after the ball. The fairy tale was over. She barely slept, tossing and turning, anxious about the next day. What if the doctor suspects something? How would she handle it? However, it was also an excellent chance to have a comprehensive checkup and learn more about her baby. She thought to herself, "Let what will be, be." At the agreed time in the morning, Shannon took Tracy's documents and went to the clinic with trembling legs. At the reception, everything went fine. The administrator did not ask unnecessary questions and directed to the right ultrasound room. However, when Shannon entered the room, she was taken aback by the sight of a well-groomed, middle-aged man sitting next to the doctor. He looked at her intently and smiled. "Good afternoon. I'm here for the 9:30 ultrasound. Tracy Igonina," she said timidly. The doctor replied, "Good. Please come in and lie down on the couch." Shannon was taken aback and was about to ask the stranger to leave when he suddenly said in a gentle voice, "Honey, what's wrong? You look like you've never seen me before. I'm Martin, your fiancé. I wanted to surprise you by coming early. I'm excited to see our baby. I can tell my surprise worked." Shannon was nervous and realized she had gotten herself into an unpleasant and unforeseen situation. She wanted to escape, but the man beat her to it and locked the door from the inside. Firmly grabbing her hand, he demanded, "Now, tell me who you are and why you have Tracy's documents. What's going on here?" Shannon, completely flustered and in tears, explained everything. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I needed the money, so I agreed when that woman offered me the opportunity to go for the ultrasound in her place. I am actually pregnant, and my fiancé is in jail. I'm struggling to get by, and I live in an abandoned house. Tracy planned to trick you into marrying her. I'm really ashamed. Can I go now? Please let me go." Martin could tell that the clearly confused girl wasn't lying, and he responded more calmly. "Since you're here, let's proceed with the ultrasound. The appointment is already paid for, and I can appreciate someone else's joy. And then you go and give Tracy the papers as agreed, and I'll deal with her myself at home. I won't involve you. After all, it's really not your fault." Relieved, Shannon lay down on the couch. The doctor moved the sensor across her abdomen and displayed the results on the screen. "Your pregnancy is 16 weeks long and you're having a boy. Everything looks good. The heart is beating, the cord isn't wrapped, there's enough amniotic fluid, blood flow is normal, and the pregnancy is progressing well. So take care of yourself and prepare to become a mother. I'll prepare your report now. Best wishes to you." As Shannon was about to leave, Martin called her back and made an unexpected offer. "Shannon, you mentioned that you're short on funds. Would you consider working at my sewing factory? We're understaffed and could use someone for a simple sit-down job. Here's my card. If you're interested, give me a call." The girl didn't know how to thank the man, responding immediately. "There's no need to thank. I agree. I'll come tomorrow. Thank you so much. I apologize again for agreeing to this scam." Shannon left the clinic in a rush, meeting Tracy at their agreed location. The rich woman asked her impatiently, "So, how did it go? Don't keep me waiting. Here's the money you've earned." Shannon handed over the documents and ultrasound report, responding hastily, "The baby is fine. Keep the money, I have to go. Excuse me," before running off without looking back. Her mind was in turmoil. She'd done everything right, but hadn't told Tracy the truth about her fiancé knowing her lie. The businessman was so kind to her, and even offered her a good job, that she couldn't help but commit to his terms. "I'm really in it now," the woman thought, only relaxing once she got home. Tracy was left baffled. What a naive fool. She lives in poverty, yet didn't take the money. Now I have solid proof that I'm pregnant. Martin will be thrilled, and the wedding will be soon. She flew home on a high, surprised to find her groom already there, as he usually worked at this time. She decided to share the news immediately, and with a solemn look, she handed him the ultrasound result. "Honey, I went to the doctor. Everything is fine with the baby. I'm 16 weeks along. We can't delay the wedding, or I won't fit into my dress soon." She noticed his expression change. "Aren't you happy?" Martin suddenly grabbed her wrist, his grip painful, and shouted, "You're a fool, Tracy. Do you think I'm stupid? Whose ultrasound result is this? Is it Shannon Derwin's? I was surprised when I saw her at the doctor's office with your documents. Take off your sweater, you liar! I want to see how you faked this pregnancy. He forcefully ripped the clothes off the stunned woman, revealing a false belly. He clutched his head, yelling, "What a disgusting trick! Why? Why did you do this? Why involve a stranger in your charade? What was your plan? To pass off someone else's baby as mine? Answer me. I want to understand how your twisted mind came up with this insane idea. Are you out of your mind?" Tracy sobbed and tried to explain. "Please, forgive me, darling. I lied about being pregnant. We had a big fight then and I was afraid I'd lose you. I didn't know how to tell you the truth. I love you, Martin, and I want to be your wife." Martin was in shock. He clenched his fists and turned on Tracy. "Get out of my house right now and take your things with you. You're a monster, Tracy, and I want nothing to do with you. I don't want a wife who lies and tries to trap me with a fake pregnancy. I can't understand it. I don't want to know you anymore." Tracy was frantically packing her things, growing angry. "You're evil, Shannon. You knew I'd be in trouble at home, but you kept silent and didn't take the money. You'll pay for this, beggar. My tears will come back to haunt you. I'll make your life miserable," she said. Martin and Tracy broke up, with Martin no longer interested in hearing about his former bride. He called off the wedding. Meanwhile, Shannon started a new job. The workshop was bright and clean, and the team was friendly. They sat her down to make buttons for clothes, which was a straightforward, sedentary job. Shannon was happy because she could earn money for her upcoming baby's needs, which eased her fears at least a little. Martin noticed the new employee and asked the foreman about her. He was satisfied with her work ethic and productivity, justifying his decision to hire her. Shannon was diligent, met her targets, and received praise. A month passed and Shannon's life began to improve. She could afford clothes and food. However, one day she returned home from work to find her humble home destroyed by fire. The scene was chaotic, with firefighters attempting to douse the flames. Shannon couldn't believe she was homeless again, with all her possessions destroyed. Mrs. Nance lamented. "Oh, how sorrowful. You girls seem to attract misfortune. How could this happen? But why am I surprised? It's an old house. Perhaps the wiring shorted out. I feel so sorry for you. It's unbearable. Don't cry, my dear. Come to my place, you'll spend the night, then we'll figure out the next steps." Shannon cried inconsolably. Her life had taken another unfortunate turn. She followed the elderly woman who fed her and provided a cot for her to sleep on. Mrs. Nance's husband grumbled quietly. "Are you out of your mind, Mrs. Nance? Why did you bring this pregnant girl to our place? Is she going to live here now? It's probably her fault that the house burned down. We don't need her problems. We're struggling ourselves. Let her stay the night, and then she should leave. She'll figure it out." Mrs. Nance retorted to her husband. "Keep your voice down. She might hear. I feel sorry for Shannon. She's a good girl. Stop complaining. We won't go broke over a bowl of soup." Shannon cried quietly. She was uncertain about her future, knowing she couldn't impose on her neighbours indefinitely. The following day, Shannon was inconsolable at work, her grief evident to her co-workers. When the news of her house burning down reached Martin a few days later, he immediately called her into his office. The frightened woman entered the director's office timidly, her bewildered eyes on him. "Shannon, why didn't you tell me immediately about your predicament?" Martin began the conversation. "You're homeless, and you have to live with your neighbours. In your condition, it's not safe. You need to think about your baby. Therefore, I've decided to take care of you. You'll live in my mansion. Don't misunderstand. I won't harm you. I'm merely trying to help. After your shift ends, we'll go. I've prepared a cosy room for you on the second floor." Shannon looked at the director, dumbfounded. "Mr. Lewis, isn't this a joke? Why are you doing this? I'm a stranger to you. I'm embarrassed to burden you. It's really embarrassing." The man frowned.
First off, you're the one who helped me see the truth about my deceitful bride, so we're no longer strangers. Secondly, you're expecting a child, and I can't ignore your distress. Things will get better, you'll see. You know, I didn't become an entrepreneur overnight. I had to start from the bottom, and I also met good people who helped me along the way. I just want to help you, that's all.
Overwhelmed, Shannon shed tears.
Mr. Lewis, you're my saviour. Honestly, I was on the verge of despair. I don't understand how or why our house burned down. I left for work and everything was fine, but I returned to ashes. May I help you with chores or in the kitchen? It would make me feel better. Thank you. It's rare to meet such kind-hearted people these days.
Martin took Shannon to his home, settled her in, bought her some clothes and treated her kindly, without any ulterior motives. He couldn't understand why this unfortunate young woman had so affected him. Previously, he had never been so sentimental. His life was all about his career, business, and a flurry of activities. But upon seeing how people like Shannon barely scraped by, he felt an inexplicable urge to help. Shannon, a young woman, worn out and confused, stood at the precipice of life. She could either make unthinkable decisions or become lost, left to fend for herself on the streets. Shannon reminded him strongly of his deceased sister. This is likely why her fate touched his soul so deeply. Martin was not one to sit idly by, and the next day he brought out a fire expert to learn about the causes of the fire in Shannon's house. The expert shocked him with the revelation that it was most likely arson. Martin was struck with a horrifying thought. What if Tracy, seeking revenge on Shannon, had set the fire? After all, she had sworn at him when she left. Meanwhile, Tracy was at a bar, nervously downing her cocktail. She was feeling sick at heart, unable to accept her defeat. No one had ever walked away from her like that before. Yes, she lied a little to speed up the wedding, but what now? Ruin everything because of that? So, instead of blaming herself, Tracy was angry with Shannon. She thought that it was this mean girl who had ruined everything. Across from her sat a temporary boyfriend, showering her with compliments, but this only served to irritate Tracy further. Suddenly her cell phone rang.
Good evening, Tracy. This is Meg, your fiancé's accountant. I have news. It was so shocking that I almost fell off my chair. There's a new girl, Shannon Derwin. She's an orphan who works in the sewing shop. Her house burned down, so our director accommodated her today. I can't reveal my source, but it's true. We're all shocked because she's as poor as a mouse and pregnant.
Tracy turned pale with anger, clenched her lips and thought, what a cunning, wretched woman. She pretended to be innocent, crying, and now she's in Martin's house. She probably jumped into his bed despite being pregnant. But I won't let this slide. As for Martin, thinking some random woman is more valuable than a decent bride, who does he think he is? I have to do something to oust this impostor. I'll do whatever it takes. Shannon gradually adjusted to life in Martin's mansion. At first, the opulence felt foreign to her, but she found ways to contribute, such as assisting the cook and cleaning. She also took up embroidery, planning to make a beaded portrait of Martin as a gift. Pregnancy proceeded normally, and in due time Shannon gave birth to a son, Kobe. Martin, overjoyed, brought her home from the hospital, purchased all the baby essentials, and frequently visited their room to gaze at Shannon's son. Having always desired children, the unfulfilled wish had lingered due to his unsuccessful personal life. Martin often watched Shannon, observing her affection for her son and the care she provided. Deep down, he liked Shannon very much. Now, they talked a lot, but both of them were afraid to talk about the most important thing, about their feelings. Martin once said, "You and I are alike, Shannon. I too was raised in an orphanage until I was 10. I don't know anything about my parents. I had a sister there. You look a lot like her. Unfortunately, she passed away due to a weak heart. That loss deeply affected me. I became withdrawn, hardly speaking to anyone. But I was lucky. My tutor adopted me and everything gradually improved in my life. Initially, Renee Lewis took me to her house on weekends. I was drawn to her because she was kind and caring, providing the warmth I had been denied. One day, I asked her, "Renee, can I call you Mum? Please don't leave me." She cried, held me close, and we never separated again. I graduated from school with honours, and with her support, I attended university. She was always my biggest advocate. I remember her with love. After university, I decided to enter commerce. I started with small trades. It was challenging, but gradually I saved enough money to open a mini atelier. At first, I only had 3 workers, who were connections of my mum, using old sewing machines, but eventually the business grew. Now, I own my own sewing factory. Sadly, my mum passed away 5 years ago. The loss was unbearable. I couldn't stay in our apartment as everything reminded me of her. I sold everything and bought this house. Long story short, it's crucial to have someone who believes in you and loves you unconditionally. My mum was that person for me, and I miss her dearly. Shannon sighed. You're fortunate, Mr. Lewis, but nobody has truly loved me. I'm like an unwanted worm in a field. I deeply loved Bruce. I thought he reciprocated my feelings. Perhaps I love Kobe the most. He brings me joy. I'm sincerely grateful to you. No one has ever been so kind to me. You're a wonderful person and a handsome man. I believe you'll find your happiness. I genuinely wish that for you. The man protested. Why do you address me so formally? I'm only 8 years older than you. I'm not an old man. Why don't we use first names? It's peculiar, we live in the same house, we're not strangers. Thank you for your kind words, Shannon. They mean a lot. Remember, if you ever need help or someone to talk to, I'm always here for you. Consider me as someone who will love you like my mother loved me. 6 months passed. Kobe was growing up. Shannon started taking part-time work at home. She didn't want to rely on Martin's kindness only. However, old hardships and sorrows were gradually being forgotten. Shannon even seemed to bloom and gain energy. The prison's iron gates clanged open, and the tall jailer barked, "Taylor, you're free. I hope prisoners taught you something, and you won't return here." Bruce nodded and headed towards the bus stop. He carried an old travel bag on his shoulder, and in his pocket he held a criminal record certificate and some money he had earned in prison. Uncertain about where to go or what to do next, he felt frightened. While in prison, he often thought of Shannon. Where was she now? Was she a mother yet? She had no one else but him. Prison had sobered him, hardened by the harsh realities and grueling labour. He deeply regretted his past actions and was determined never to return. At the bus stop, Bruce watched the passing buses, wondering where to start his new life. As he pondered, a fancy car pulled up, and a stunning blonde opened the window. "Are you Bruce Taylor?" she asked. "Yes, why?" he responded. "Get in, I have important business." Bruce was taken aback. What luck, he thought. A woman like that is interested in me. I wonder what she wants. The man settled comfortably into the warm, vanilla-scented salon. A stranger with a chic manicure extended her graceful hand and introduced herself. "My name is Tracy. You don't need to know me, Bruce, and I'm not keen on getting to know you. However, we share a common link, so we need to cooperate temporarily. First question. Do you know Shannon Derwin? You two have a child together, correct? You miss her, don't you? Do you want to see her?" Bruce's eyes lit up at her words. "Of course. I want to see Shannon. She's my first love. We've been together since childhood. When I was incarcerated, she was pregnant, it's true. Do you know where she is?" Tracy's smile turned predatory.
Of course I do. Your Shannon seduced my wealthy fiancé and now lives in his mansion, forgetting all about you. How does that news fit you? Do you think that's fair? I bet she never visited you in prison. I was harsh to her as well, Bruce admitted. I was the one who insisted on getting rid of the baby. I didn't want him. When I was sent to prison, she was left penniless. If she's found happiness elsewhere, perhaps it's for the best.
Unwilling to let it go, Tracy pressed on.
How can you just give up on your happiness like that? You need to fight for your love. Look at me. I won't give up on Martin to your Shannon.
Bruce was stunned.
But this is absurd. What can I offer her? I'm a penniless convict. Where will I take her and the child? What will we live on? I still love her, but...
Tracy began to tell him the important part.
We're getting to the crux of the matter. I'll rent you an apartment and pay for 6 months up front. I'll also give you some money to live on until you find your footing. In exchange, you must take Shannon away from my fiancé. Then I'll handle my relationship with him. Is that clear?
Bruce, overwhelmed with joy, exclaimed,
That's an offer! All my problems are solved in an instant.
Naturally, he agreed, and they reached an understanding. That same day, Tracy rented a modest one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town, brought Bruce some decent clothes, and a few days later, he went to Martin's house. Shannon was in the yard with her son, showing him toys when the doorbell rang. Thinking it was the delivery boy Martin had mentioned earlier, she opened the door. When she saw Bruce standing there, she gasped and stepped back in surprise. "Bruce, you? Are you out already? Weren't you sentenced to 5 years? Why are you here? How did you even find out where I live?" The man admired Shannon, noting how much prettier she had become. Pregnancy and childbirth seemed to have enhanced her beauty. She looked healthier and had a blush on her cheeks. His emotions stirred and his attraction for her reignited with renewed fervour. "Hello, my love," he said. "I was released early under amnesty. I've thought about you constantly and missed you terribly. Can I at least hug you? Why are you standing there as if we're strangers?" With resolve, he embraced Shannon and kissed her passionately. She immediately melted into his arms, her vision blurred. She still seemed to love her mischievous Bruce. However, their son's fussing in the stroller brought Shannon back to reality. She abruptly pushed the man away and said sharply, "Slow down, Bruce. We mean nothing to each other. You didn't marry me, and you didn't want our son. You used to steal and hide. Please, just go. We're on different paths now, can't you see? I want a normal family, a man who can be a protector, a strong shoulder, not a thief." Hearing these words, Bruce fumed.
"So it's true, you're sleeping with him, aren't you? He's your support now. What about our love? We dreamed of a future together. Shannon, I'm not pressuring you. Just think about it. Trust me, I've changed. There's no turning back now. I've rented an apartment. I have money. Can we try to start over? I'm begging you. I need you, sweetheart. Let me see my son. Don't keep him away." Shannon, with reluctance, let him approach the stroller. Tears streamed down her face. Little Kobe resembled Bruce so much, with his protruding ears and potato-like nose. She quietly said, "I have never cheated on you, Bruce. It hurts that you think that way of me and believe others gossip. Martin is a wonderful man, unlike anyone I've ever met. I'm grateful for everything, but I won't return to you. I'm sorry." Bruce left empty-handed. Near his new apartment, Tracy was waiting for him and began to chatter immediately. "Well, did you convince your fiancée? When will she move in with you?" "No, she outright refuses. She showed me her son. He's my spitting image. When I kissed her, I felt she missed me too. She softened. But then she became upset, saying she doesn't trust me anymore. She questioned me about the money again. She probably thinks I've returned to my old habits. Seeing Shannon again made me realize I can't live without her. She's mine. That's all there is to it. But what am I going to do now?
Tracy was nervous. You need to find a regular job immediately so she'll believe you. I have one place in mind, a car repair shop. They might hire you, even with a criminal record. I'll arrange it. Work for a week, then go back to her. Plead with her. Show her you love your son. Remember, if you don't meet your condition, you'll lose your apartment and receive no more money. So, hurry up, Romeo. Tracy successfully helped Bruce find a job. It wasn't official, but they promised generous pay. The work was dirty, tedious and uninteresting, and Bruce, accustomed to earning money differently, was exhausted. Nevertheless, he decided to endure it for Shannon's sake, becoming consumed with the idea of winning her back. A week later, Bruce returned to Shannon with a bouquet of daisies, her favourite since childhood, and a bag of toys for his son. Shannon was unfriendly and stern. Bruce, I told you not to come here. Listen, I'm not coming back. I have to go. Kobe will wake up soon. He'll be scared. Bruce grew angry, tossed the bouquet on the ground and shouted, Really? If you don't want to see me, I still have the right to see my son. Where's Kobe? I work in a car service. I don't steal, and I love you. Yet you choose money. Are you hiding behind your sugar daddy? Shannon also began to swear. Bruce pushed her away and tried to enter. Martin came out to the noise. He knew that Shannon's ex-boyfriend was out of jail. For a few days the woman complained that she did not want to go back to her old life, and she could not dissuade Bruce from her. What's happening here? Martin asked sternly. Shannon, go inside. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Bruce grinned. Why are you meddling in my life, old man? You're attracted to young girls, aren't you? Shannon is my fiancée. We were made for each other, okay? And Kobe is my son, and you're standing in my way. Martin was a man of manners and composure, and calmly replied, I have no relations with Shannon, if that's what you mean, and I don't force her. She can leave the house at any time, but she doesn't want to see you. So go away and don't make a fuss, or you'll get yourself into trouble. Are you threatening me? Bruce shouted. I'm just warning you, but if you don't understand, I'll have to explain more clearly. And now, goodbye. Martin slammed the door and went into the house, and Bruce went away. He was angry and hated this rich man who had stolen Shannon from him. But as soon as the guy turned the corner, the light faded, and there was lingering darkness. Shannon hadn't been herself all night since she'd talked to Bruce. Her soul was in a state of turmoil. Some part of her still loved him, but with her mind she realized that if she returned to Bruce, everything would be the same as before, and only anxiety and uncertainty would wait for her. In addition to her anxiety, after the conversation with Bruce, Martin was frowning and not himself. The woman bathed the baby and was just putting him to bed when the doorbell rang again. Just as long as it's not Bruce, with horror thought Shannon. To her surprise, 2 policemen entered the house, introduced themselves and stunned everyone. Martin Lewis, you are detained on suspicion of attempting to harm Bruce Taylor. He's now in intensive care, in a coma. Your neighbours claim they saw you threatening him, and half an hour later he was found around the corner with a fractured skull. Get dressed, come with us. Martin was stunned. Shannon, I didn't do it, I swear. We just talked, that's all, trust me. This is a monstrous misunderstanding. Everything will be cleared up soon, and I'll be released. Shannon couldn't believe what she was hearing and started crying. Martin was taken away, leaving her to piece together the facts. He spent 10 minutes with Bruce and then remained silent and frowning all evening. What if it really is him? Poor Bruce. And if he dies? Martin would be imprisoned for a long time. I only bring people trouble, Shannon thought to herself. The next day she visited the hospital to check on Bruce. They didn't allow her into the intensive care unit, but reassured her that his condition was stable, albeit serious. They promised to call if his condition improved. Shannon was only allowed to see him through the glass. There he was, surrounded by tubes and wires, the beeping life support system. He looked as helpless and miserable as when he fell from the high swing in the orphanage yard. Memories flooded back and Shannon broke down in tears. Of course, she hadn't forgotten Martin either. She felt terrible, knowing he was in trouble due to her personal issues. She used her 6 months' worth of savings to hire a lawyer, praying that Martin wasn't the attacker, despite her uncertainty. As for Tracy, she was triumphant. Her plan had worked perfectly. Upon hearing that Martin was in detention and Bruce was in a coma, she took her next step. She brazenly showed up at Martin's mansion and began to evict Shannon and her child. "Well, my dear, it's just you and me now. You're nobody here. So, leave. I'm giving you half a day, or I'll involve my father and his connections. And you'll have to explain to authorities why you're living in someone else's house without registration." Shannon was taken aback. "You're nobody to Martin either. Why are you ordering me around? Did you feel like a queen while the master of the house is in trouble?" Tracy, her eyes aflame with fury, picked up a porcelain vase and shouted, "How dare you speak to me like that, you viper? You've got the nerve, haven't you? I'll destroy you and your offspring." In rage, she grabbed Kobe, who got scared and started crying, and Shannon, terrified for her son, began to plead. "Stop it, please. I'll leave right now. Enough. Please give me my baby." Tracy laughed. "That's better. And remember, if you show up at this house or even near Martin again, something bad will happen to your child. I won't leave you alone. My advice is, if your Bruce recovers, go to him and live happily. As for Martin, forget him. He's mine. He just hasn't realized it yet." Shannon nodded, agreeing to avoid angering Tracy further. She picked up the baby, grabbed her suitcase and left. With her last bit of money, she rented a small room, but she was at a loss about what to do next. She had no desire to go back to Bruce. Everything inside her felt burnt out. The love was gone, leaving only a bitter residue and disappointment. Now, having grown closer to Martin, Shannon realized what a real man should be. Decent, capable of solving problems, not creating them. Such a man would not lie, evade the truth, or make promises he cannot keep. She was deeply concerned about Martin and didn't know how to help him get out of prison. He didn't deserve this. He was merely trying to protect her. A week later, the hospital called to inform her that Bruce had regained consciousness and been transferred to the general ward. Immediately, Shannon grabbed her son and hurried there. Bruce was elated, saying, "Beloved, you came to see me, thank you. Can I hold Colby, please?" "Don't cry, son. It's me, your father," Shannon asked him bluntly. "Bruce, tell me honestly, who attacked you? I cannot believe it was Martin. He wouldn't do such a thing." "It was Tracy, the wretch. She found out you kicked me out again. As soon as I turned the corner, she attacked me. She's just a deranged woman," the man confessed. "Bruce, you must tell the police the truth. Martin is innocent. He got into trouble because of me. But Tracy will pay for her actions." At this moment, Bruce quickly evaluated his position and responded, "I agree, but only on one condition. We live together and get married. I want a family. I want to raise my son, to love you. I'm different now, Shannon, trust me. If you refuse again, Martin will face serious legal trouble. Choose. We've been together since we were kids. I don't need anyone but you, sweetheart. Yes, I made a mistake. I took a wrong turn, but prison changed me. No more criminal behaviour. I swear. Think of our son. Why deprive him of his father? We're one, and the sooner you accept it, the better." The woman realised that this was blackmail, but she couldn't abandon Martin. For his sake, she agreed to be with Bruce. Though deep down, she knew that their youthful love and friendship had long passed,
and this arrangement wouldn't lead to anything good. Nonetheless, a deal is a deal. Shannon moved into Bruce's rented apartment. Martin was released, and Tracy was taken into custody. Initially, Bruce made a sincere effort. He began working at a car service, exerted himself, and looked after Kobe. He also attempted to reconnect with Shannon. However, this became unbearable for her. She felt nothing for her fiancé, and because her soul yearned for Martin. The woman was like a bird trapped in a cage, and felt utterly miserable. When Martin returned home, the maid informed him that Tracy had expelled Shannon. He was furious and immediately called her. "Shannon, thank you for the lawyer and for your concern. I'm truly touched. Tracy has done something awful. She had no right to throw you out. Where are you now? I'll come over. Would you like to come back? I never thought I'd miss you and Kobe so deeply. The house feels empty without you." Shannon's heart raced upon hearing this long-awaited confession. If she could, she would immediately return to the place where she felt cared for and loved. Quietly swallowing her tears, she replied, "I'm sorry, Martin, but I can't go back. I've reconciled with Bruce. We've already applied for a marriage license and the wedding is in a month. I apologize to you. Because of my problems, you've been dragged into this. I also want you to know that you are the best man in the world. I've never met anyone like you." Bruce, who had stepped out of the kitchen currently, shouted angrily, "Who's on the phone? Why are you being so nice? Don't I understand something?" Startled, Shannon immediately ended the call, but Bruce, enraged, squeezed her hand painfully. "This better be the first and last time. Get that businessman out of your head. He helped you, that's fine. Or have you forgotten our agreement? I'm Kobe's father and your future husband. Understand?" Shannon was frightened and cried. Bruce had never spoken to her like this or shouted at her, but now he was rigid and entirely different. Luckily, at this time, the man realized he had gone too far and immediately started to hug and kiss her, asking for forgiveness. "Forgive me, kitten. I'm just very jealous because I love you. You're only my girl, do you hear? I won't let anyone else have you. Come to me, my little swallow." Bruce began showering the bride's neck with kisses, which she endured with a choked-up feeling. His touches were now unpleasant. Thankfully, Kobe became fussy and cried loudly, calling for his mum. The woman instantly pushed Bruce away and went to the child. After the call, Martin understood everything from her tone. Her voice was lifeless and desolate. "Oh, girl, you're making a mistake again. Your Bruce won't change and the cycle will continue. Theft and deception. You're totally lost. But it's not my place to intervene. It's your decision, even if it's misguided. Why am I bothered? Why did I obsess over Shannon even in prison? Why do I still rush to the nursery and feel like crying at the sight of the empty cradle? I was never this emotional. Why did I fall in love? What am I going to do with all this?" In the meantime, the future family's relationship had fallen apart. Bruce started disappearing at night again, claiming he had urgent work for car repairs. Shannon, however, didn't believe him, especially since Bruce started to bring home a lot of money. It seemed to be necessary to rejoice, but Shannon remembered too well how it all ended last time. "Why did you book such an expensive restaurant? Why all this extravagance and show?" She attempted to have a frank conversation with him. "We don't have our own place, we don't have a car, and yet you're spending all this money. You didn't even ask for my opinion. Where is all this money coming from? I'm scared. Be honest. You haven't started doing anything illegal again, have you?" "Don't invent things and upset yourself," Bruce responded, looking away. "You're overcomplicating everything. Don't worry about anything. Relax. Think about something pleasant. We'll buy you the most beautiful dress and choose the rings together. Everything is for you. As for the money, it's just paper. Why should we worry about it?
Bruce continued to dodge a direct response and quickly shifted the conversation to another subject. However, Shannon was troubled. She knew his behaviour and expressions all too well when he was lying. She decided to call the mysterious car service where Bruce supposedly worked day and night. Politely, she asked, "Good afternoon, could I please speak with Bruce Taylor? It's very important." However, she was taken aback by the response.
"He doesn't work here. He left 3 months ago, so I can't assist you."
Shannon was left speechless. Everything inside her abruptly turned upside down. She sat down in a chair and wept bitterly.
The wedding is in a week, and it turns out that Bruce is doing something wrong, and most likely illegal again. How? It's all so terrifying. And after all, the truth will not tell the truth. Even if I torture him, he will lie to the last.
Shannon sobbed and thought,
"Where am I going? I'll put my head in the noose myself. What kind of family is there with him? He's already in something, and I involve my son in all this."
Bruce has changed so much since prison. He has some outbursts of aggression, and he's already bored a little with his son. His crying and fever, teething, and all the problems only annoy him. Raising a child is hard work. Bruce is not ready for it. Shouting at the whole world that he is a father and actually being one. It turned out to be different things. And Kobe feels his nervousness, does not want to play with him for a long time. Somehow everything doesn't fit together in our family. There's no happiness, and that's it. Maybe I should drop everything, run away before it's too late. But that way, I'd set Martin up. Bruce won't forgive me and will take revenge on him. Well, and I got into trouble. That will be what will happen. Meanwhile, Martin didn't waste any time. He knew he wanted to spend his life with Shannon and decided to make a decisive move, just like in chess. The wedding day arrived. Shannon woke up in a bad mood, plagued by nightmares and a headache. Reluctantly, she started to prepare herself and dress up. 2 hours later, she looked stunning, in a long, fitted, snow-white dress, with a beautiful, intricate hairstyle and delicate makeup. Little Kobe was also dressed up, looking cute, in a suit with a bow tie. The groom arrived in a rented limousine, and they proceeded to the wedding venue. All the way to the venue, Bruce was beaming with joy, talking non-stop about their honeymoon and plans for a prosperous life together. Meanwhile, Shannon's anxiety grew. She could tell that the groom was lying about showing any remorse, and she kept wondering when the truth would be revealed. At the ceremony, a stern lady asked them, "Is your desire to marry each other free, sincere, and mutual? Are you entering this marriage in good faith? Please answer, groom." Without hesitation, Bruce shouted, "Yes!" But Shannon wanted to yell, "No, I do not want to marry this man." Instead, she swallowed the lump in her throat and quietly replied, "Yes." When it was time to sign the marriage certificate, something unbelievable happened. The door of the wedding hall swung open, and there was Martin. "Shannon, sweetheart, stop, you're about to make a huge mistake. Your fiancé has returned to his criminal ways. He recently robbed a high-ranking official. While repairing his car at a service station, he found a bank card. Bruce managed to transfer a large sum of money to other accounts before the official could react. He didn't do this alone, but with cybercriminals. They were confident they wouldn't be caught, but the police pieced it together. Your fiancé is going to jail again, this time for a long stretch." Bruce flinched and tried to escape, but the police were waiting outside the marriage registration office. They were about to escort him straight to the police station when Shannon ran up to them. She caught up just in time to yank off her veil and throw her ring in his face, and shout, "We're finished! Don't you dare show your face in my life again! I won't let you anywhere near my son! You lied to me again! There's no fixing this!" Bruce retorted, "Fine, go to your money bags. Good luck. I did everything for you, and you, After the police had left, Shannon sat on the steps of the building, cradling her small son and crying bitterly. Everything seemed to be right. The truth was revealed. Bruce, the liar, was exposed, and now she wouldn't have to marry someone she didn't love. But for some reason, it was so disgusting. Everything in her life is not like in normal people's. Everything goes upside down. At this moment, Martin came up and sat beside her on the steps. After a moment of silence, he spoke softly. I love you, Shannon. I only realized it after I was released from prison. I walked around the empty house and felt desperate with longing. I miss your slightly sad but beautiful eyes, your laughter, your smile. I often sit aimlessly in the nursery, looking at Kobe's empty cradle, holding his bunny. I realize how much I long to embrace you both. I understand that Bruce is your first love, and you may still have feelings for him. Shannon couldn't believe her ears. She threw herself into Martin's arms and gibbered, No, you've got it all wrong. Bruce was blackmailing me. He said that if I didn't agree to marry him, he wouldn't tell the truth to the police, and you wouldn't get out of jail. But how could I ruin your life? So I agreed. But every day with Bruce was torture. I went to that wedding like a hard labour. I couldn't walk. But why would you want a problem woman like me? I'm like a magnet for bad luck and misfortune. I meet the wrong guy, or the house suddenly burns down to the ground. I'm the reason you got hurt. You broke up with your fiancé. I'm already afraid of myself.
Martin hugged her and responded, Darling, you're not a problem at all. Tracy was the one who set the house on fire. She confessed in court, and you had nothing to do with it. Poor Tracy is possessed. She needs help. Bruce just manipulated you skillfully. Your only problem is that you were with the wrong man, not yours. You know, I'll ensure you never cry again. Kobe is already like family to me. I'll give him my last name, and you'll become my wife. Everything will be okay. Do you hear? I believe it. Those were the words Shannon had been waiting for. She was absolutely overjoyed at that moment. The three of them sat together in a group hug. Even Kobe was silent, seeming to grasp the significance of the moment. Bruce went to jail again. He was filled with anger towards Shannon and the world, and felt betrayed and unappreciated. In prison, he deliberately engaged in fights and lived dangerously, which led to his fatal consequences. Thus ended the life of Bruce, the wayward boy, in a senseless and tragic manner. It was as if his whole life were a struggle between good and evil, and he didn't know whether to choose the light or the dark side. Tracy's father helped her out of prison and took her abroad, far away from the city. She then underwent extensive psychological rehabilitation and therapy. Over time, she moved past her past traumas and her obsession with revenge. She met a kind man and learned to build an honest relationship, free from lies and manipulation. Shannon and Martin got married, raised a son, and hoped for a daughter, and their life continued with its many ups and downs.